Hi, I'm Dr. Silva, and I just want to say a few words about stigma, about the stigmatization of mental illness and conditions that involve the emotions and behavior, and specifically addiction. I've been mulling this over. I guess this is public service announcement number 2, but just a few words about what a cancer that is and how unjust it is and how it should be stamped out at every opportunity. And it's easier said than done, I realize this, but so many people with chemical dependency are ashamed. They're ashamed of their condition, even though we all know that these conditions do not reflect character flaw. It's nobody's fault. They're largely genetic. All of them really have a biological component. And whether it's food or sex or gambling or alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, most of you know, many of you know that I myself am a recovering addict. I was never an alcoholic. I am not an alcoholic, and either you are or you aren't. And I never really abused alcohol either. I couldn't. It made me too sick. But everything else under the sun. And I am not at all ashamed. Not 1 ounce of shame or embarrassment do I have. I will tell people at the drop of a hat. I'm pretty much an open book anyway. That's kind of the way I am. But it would never occur to me to try to conceal that part. I guess there's maybe a little bit of embarrassment with regard to food if I were to get into the details of how that particular disorder, how that particular condition in me manifested, or manifests, I should say, present tense. So I get it, but this embarrassment has kept people from seeking treatment. Even though it's called Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, for a lot of people, the promise of anonymity is not enough to get them over that fear that they have, that other people that they know will find out that they have this condition, that they have alcoholism, that they are alcoholics. I don't like to say that people are their illnesses. I don't like to say I'm bipolar. Well, no, you have bipolar disorder. You suffer from manic depression. You're not bipolar. You don't equal your disease. And so I have to catch myself with that. It's one of the top reasons why people don't want to go to 12-step meetings. And so it keeps people from treatment. And it's unfair, it's unjust, and it's unwarranted. Why should I be ashamed if I have an addiction to crack? I use crack, by the way. I had a period of that. Yes, me. I don't look like a crackhead. I was a crackhead. It was only a few months because crack cocaine is not a drug that you can get away with abusing for very long. It will take you down. It's like meth. You're not going to see a doctor who's board certified, who's working, who is actively smoking crack. It just doesn't work. I also find my own experiences very useful, and I often share with patients when there's something relevant to their experience. If I've experienced anything close to what they've experienced, something that I can share, something that can be of use, I absolutely use it. And so I will tell my patients frequently that I also suffer from chemical dependency if I'm trying to guide them, and I want to let them know that I'm speaking from experience, that these are things that I myself have experienced. It's not just textbook knowledge. I know what it's like. And a lot of times patients are surprised, particularly when we're talking about specific substances that they would never assume. But it not only gives me greater credibility, but I think it also helps the patient. It gives them the anticipation that maybe they are going to get better. If they're being counseled, they're being advised by somebody who got past it himself and truly understands. And I've had conversations where patients are being a little stubborn and argumentative, and they are rationalizing and they're giving excuses and they're telling me all these things. And when I reveal that I myself am in recovery, a lot of times they're taken aback and they stop arguing for a little bit. So I use it in my practice. It's therapeutic. And of course, the basis of a therapeutic relationship is honesty. I have to be 100% honest. So if it's relevant, if I think it's going to be helpful to the patient, and if it's going to help foster the therapeutic relationship and cement that trust and that mutual respect, I will absolutely share with the patient. And so I guess for all of the above reasons, it just doesn't behoove me to cultivate a sense of embarrassment. And I've done a couple of videos where I talk about my food addiction. So even that one, that's maybe a little embarrassing, I'm going to share if that's what is going to be the best. What's the whole point of these videos if it's not to at least put information out there and try to be helpful? I don't think that I'm going to become a multimillionaire on YouTube. You never know. Watch the commercials, guys. Please watch the commercials. So that's where I come from. I also think maybe, probably, almost certainly, I went through years of oppression, years of stigmatization for being gay. I grew up as a gay teenager in the 1980s, and the 1980s were a very homophobic time. It's not like today. Today it's like nothing. Today it's the trans movement and those individuals that are at the forefront of everybody's. Now being gay is nothing. In the 80s, in the Reagan era, the Thatcher era, with the moral majority and all the conservatives, and people would say awful, hateful things. You could say out loud that gay people didn't have the same rights as straight people, and they shouldn't be gay, and that they're disgusting, and there's something wrong with them, and you could be very hateful. I had a friend, my best friend in high school, and it hurt me very much to hear him say that gay people don't have a right to live. He said that. Nobody said anything. I mean, he wasn't a Nazi, but he said this thing, and what is amazing is that nobody said a word. Nobody said, "What? What are you talking about? Don't have a right to live? So you could just kill a gay person? That would be all right?" Anyway, the point is that I didn't say anything either because I was terrified. I was closeted. The whole world was against me. I was an aberration, and it was unjust. And so by the time in college, I was also a closeted. It was really bad. But the point is when I finally got to medical school, I was like everybody. Okay, and I dared people to be homophobic. It was like a 180. I really did. I just shed any shame that I might have. I was angry. I was an angry young man, and I really was very much confrontational. I would tell you at the drop of a hat, Hi, my name is Dr. Silva, and I'm gay. And do you have a problem with it?" So that was a phase as well. I got over that, and maybe because I had to go through that years and years of hiding. With that history, I defy someone to tell me that I should be ashamed because I have the genes that predispose me to being a heroin addict, for example. It's ignorance, and it's my hope that as we continue to progress as a society, that we will stop gossiping and stop judging, even in our own minds, and that we're careful about the terminology that we use. You are not your disease, but I do call myself an addict, and I try to be mindful of that word because I think that word may have negative connotations for some people, but language is important. And anyway, that's my 2 cents. Don't be ashamed.